Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful, really cold Thursday morning. So, we are going to take some time today to look inward and practice listening. So, that contemplative prayer practice that allows us to really look inside, to take kind of a barometer of where we're at and kind of what's going on in our body, and make sure that we're fully embodied so that we can fully open our ears and really listen with the internal ears of what God would have us know today. So I invite you to start by getting comfortable in whatever chair that you're sitting in, or if you're sitting on the floor, and sitting with your back as straight as possible, and then allowing the chair to fully support you or the floor to fully support you. And go ahead and close or lower your eyes. And we are going to start this morning by taking 3 deep breaths together. And so we start from empty, because that is where all life begins, from nothing and then something. And we take a big breath in, and we release it with a sigh. And we take another breath in and release it with a sigh. And one more deep breath, expanding your belly and letting it go. And this time, just allow your breath to return to its own natural rhythm, whatever that is for you. Allowing yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Fully present in this moment. Using your breath as a way and as a vehicle for getting into your body. The breath is the breath of life. When we stop breathing, we stop living. I invite you to leave behind anything that's come before today and let go of anything that's to come after. All of that can be picked up after this time. The less you can carry with you in this moment, the more in this present moment that you can be. The more that your heart opens so that you can hear with those inner ears what God would have to say to you today. I just invite you to see yourself in a place where you feel completely safe, and take a look around. It might be your favorite chair. It may be where you're sitting right now, or you may picture yourself somewhere out in nature, maybe by a mountain stream, a waterfall, a river, an ocean. Notice the temperature that is around you, what that feels like. Notice what you're seeing and what you're hearing. Notice if there are any smells. Notice if there's any imminent tastes that come from those smells. And just be fully present in this moment and get comfortable in this sacred space that you create for yourself to commune with God. Knowing that there's no other moment besides right here, right now, and your connection to God. And as you're breathing, I invite you to put your hands on your heart or imagine that you're breathing through your heart. Because our inner ears, even though our physical ears are located on our head, our inner ears, I find, are located in the heart, where we can really hear and pay attention to what God would have us know today. And in this time, we just know and recognize that God is everywhere present, above us, below us, behind us, in front of us, all around us, and inside of us. There is actually no place that God is not. God is everything, and God is no thing. Kind of blows your mind. Does for me anyway. That God is in the trees, in the leaves on the trees, that even as we speak are some changing color. And God is in the void, in that space between the leaves of the trees. And what I know is that God lives and moves and breathes as me. And God lives and moves and breathes as you. We are the hands and feet of God. And from this centered place of knowing that wherever I am, God is right here, right now, we open our hearts to the wisdom that God would have for us. So I invite you to consider one word, one thing, one idea, attribute, value, something that you are either working on, maybe want more information about, curiosity about, wanting to know how it's showing up in your life, maybe wanting it to show up more in your life. So maybe you're curious about discernment or discipline or grace, or what unconditional love really looks like, or kindness, or caring, or this concept of forgiveness. What aspect have you been working on, curious about, would like to have your focus for today's contemplative practice be? And although it may be tempting to grab all of them, I sometimes do that. I find that it is more profound in a moment to pick one to focus on and to ask God, because God is everywhere present, right here, right now. What does God have to say to you as you sit with this word? And I would just invite you to just, our monkey mind, our minds can take off down with lots of thoughts and ideas. And to clear the mind, I use the breath. Breathing in and out through the heart and just focusing on that one word. So for me, if I use the word discernment, breathing in discernment, breathing out discernment, focusing on that. As I breathe in and out, this idea of discernment, or whatever word you chose, grace, peace, love, discipline, organization, whatever it is, Allow your mind to slow down to just that one thought as you breathe in and out through your heart. And I am actually going to give you a couple of minutes, a couple of full minutes of silence to just be with that one idea, that one thought, and see what God would have you know today about that. And just as you continue to breathe through the heart, you will notice your heart getting wider, and listen carefully for what messages God has for you. And I will come back and get you in just a few moments. Keep breathing. And I invite you now to just notice. That was a full 2 minutes. That was only 2 minutes. Notice how that felt. Notice if you were able to, how your mind did with that. Were you able to stay focused on the one word, or did your mind go to multiple different places? Did you start planning your grocery list for the day? So without judgment, just notice. And perhaps you didn't get a message, and that's okay too. You've now opened the doorway for God to speak to you in many different ways today. So pay attention. Keep your eyes open. See how God would reveal themselves to you throughout the day. Listening with those inner ears, centering yourself and being fully present. It doesn't have to take a long time. And sometimes it is just simply the remembering that right where I am, God is. That this idea that we're separate, that God is somewhere away from me is an illusion, because right where I am, God is. And God speaks to me and can speak to me in so many different ways if I have the ears to listen, if I open up my heart and really listen. May you have, so as you take a few moments to come back to this present moment, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes, and when you're ready, open your eyes. And I heard somewhere yesterday too that when we come out of deep states of like that type of a centering prayer meditation, sometimes it helps to rub your hands and then put them over your eyes to kind of just bring yourself back to presence. I thought that was an interesting thing. I'm experimenting with it, so I thought I would share it with you. So I invite you to have just a very blessed rest of your week, listening and listening for all that God would have you know. Namaste.